NFL preseason landscape. Transmitter 42. Fall is upon us, and that means football. We can take a break from the political theater and have some fun focusing on the forthcoming football season. College and professional teams will entertain us, be it classic matchups or rare contests. In today's episode, Dylan Huggins brings his 18 years of experience to discuss the landscape of American professional football. Please welcome Dylan Huggins to Transmitter 42. Well, welcome, Dylan. Thank you for coming back to Transmitter 42.
Thanks for having me again. You know, fall's upon us, the best season of the year, a lot of great things going around, so excited to share what I got for you today. You know, football season's it's a heartwarming it's just, there's nothing like it.
It's a unique American experience, and it's that time of year to enjoy it. So, you just got done with a rather nice career in football. Your experience includes 5 years as a D3 left tackle, if I recall.
That's correct.
Congratulations on that. That's quite an achievement. I'm quite proud of you. This is my son, everyone, just to make sure you knew. This is your first foray in discussing sports. How do we begin our discussion for this half hour?
Well, the first thing I want to mention, as much as I love playing college football, it was a blast. I don't regret anything, but I also am looking forward to this football season in particular. Just, you know,
chill out, trying to be a spectator
exactly.
As opposed to always going somewhere on Saturdays.
Yeah, exactly. I'm officially a bystander now and a fan, so I'm looking forward to it. So it'll be a good time.
So this is Wednesday. This is being recorded the Wednesday before the first game on Thursday. What can you tell us about the forthcoming season?
Yeah, awesome. So I'm really excited for the NFL season. Just a quick overview of what we're going to be covering. This will be a 30-minute episode, so it'll be a more condensed version of what I'm expecting from certain teams and some changes that I think that you'll see in the standings at the end of the season. Certain players that have been moved around, new coaching, new coaches in new places, and just where I see some of these teams improving, or what teams I see, you know, taking a step back this season.
Okay. So how do we begin?
Yeah, so I'd say the big headlines moving into the season. Number one, I would say one of the biggest headlines, in my opinion, was the Chicago Bears, who seem to have, you know, the joke is always, you know, 4-time defending champs of the offseason, but it hasn't necessarily panned out. But this offseason felt a lot different for them. Especially, they knew they had to make a lot of moves in a stacked division with the Vikings, Lions, and Packers, who all three made the postseason last year with great rosters, all three with great coaches. The Bears got, in my opinion, the best offensive mind in the NFL to be their next head coach, and Ben Johnson. They really had a great offseason. It's just going to be so tough for them in that division. I do think they definitely improve. I think Ben Johnson's going to come in there and get a much better and productive season out of second-year quarterback Caleb Williams. They revamped their offensive line. Offensive line is going to be a lot better, is what they need for Caleb. The receiving talent is there. The Bears' defense is also another solid unit. The only thing for them is just going to be like that division it's going to be the best division in the NFL, in my opinion. I think 3 out of 4 teams will make the postseason again, more than likely. But I mean, the Bears this offseason look to be going in the right direction. And we'll see once the season plays out. We'll see how Ben Johnson meshes with his team. I do think that their offense has potential to be very scary, though. So I think that's one of the number one, I would say, coaching storylines of this upcoming season. And in the past, they've had very subpar to mediocre coaching, especially on the offensive side of things. So I think they're going to be a team to look out for as the season goes on. A couple teams that I think are going to, I'd say my predictions for like the top teams in the NFL, like the true Super Bowl contenders. I would say it's like a select few. There are some divisions in here that are very stacked. In my opinion, the NFC North, like I already mentioned, and then the AFC West going to be a tough one as well. And then there's also some divisions in here that are both of the South divisions, the AFC and the NFC South. I mean, I don't really see a Super Bowl contender coming out of either of those. But I'd say like the true contenders this year, Buffalo, you have to keep them in there just because as long as they have Josh Allen, they have a chance. And then as I continue down, I would say Baltimore is also going to be in that echelon category, that upper echelon of teams. Kansas City, you have to keep in there just for respect, even though they did look abysmal in the Super Bowl. You always have to have that respect for them as they've honestly not dominated, but like the AFC has been running through them for a number of years now. So even though they've won some, they went back to back. You can't count them out. They've had some losses, but the floor of Patrick Mahomes' career in Kansas City has been just AFC Championship appearance, which is crazy. Like that's like the worst case scenario for these Chiefs teams throughout the years. Another team, I mean, the defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the defense did as elite as the defense is, and it was like an all-time defense last year in terms of statistics and whatever, a bunch of other measurements. They took a little bit of a hit. They lost a very good run stopper in Milton Williams. But, I mean, they have just so much talent, like, spread over the field, especially like, in the secondary. 2 second-year players, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell. And the defensive front is, even with losing Milton Williams, it's still going to be very hard to run the football against the Eagles. And with the best offensive line in football and the best running back in football, you know what they're going to try to do. Now, they do probably want to be a little bit more balanced this year with incorporating the passing attack more. Not just because they have good receivers, but anytime you have a running back who has a pretty historic season like Saquon Barkley did for the Eagles last year, over 2,000 yards, insane season. It's a lot of wear and tear on a running back, and it's very hard to replicate that year in and year out. So I see the Eagles trying to be a little bit more balanced, utilizing their passing attack a lot more.
Do they have the crew for that?
Oh, yeah, they definitely have the crew. I mean, say what you want about quarterback Jalen Hurts. He's shown that in big moments he can come through. And a lot of games he doesn't necessarily have to be, this, elite, separating himself from the rest of the league quarterback just because the team is as good as it is. But we see in like the big moments that he does play well and he does show up. So I think they definitely can be more balanced. And then I think the NFC North is a very tricky division just because you got 3 teams that made the postseason last year in that division: Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay. Detroit and Minnesota coming off 14-plus win regular seasons. And a team that, I mean, the Lions are still going to be a very good football team this year. Although I think this is one of these teams that they are under some pressure, but not as much pressure as it would have been at the end of last season just because they lost both of their offensive and defensive coordinators. They lost 2 starters on their offensive line. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch. I would say they're under some pressure just because of the last two seasons that they've put together under Dan Campbell. You know, winning 15 games in a regular season, you're kind of expected to, like, you know, put it together at the end. But, I mean, that's one of the teams where I think they'll still be a postseason lock, and they'll be a very good regular season team. But I still think I don't have them winning the division, but they're just because they took some hits, like coaching wise on the field. The defense is finally getting healthy, which is good for them because that was a problem for them. Was just like the defense wasn't healthy. That's why they gave up, was it 50 some points to Washington in that playoff game. So, well, I mean, once they're healthy, we'll see how they are with two new coordinators and two new starters on that offensive line that was very elite for the last couple of years. And then another team that I want to look out for is probably the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers, you know, you look at the record last year and the postseason vacancy, not making the playoffs. I mean, you would think that they're like there to stay, but they were just like battling so many injuries on that team. And losing one of the best tackles in football, and Trent Williams. The defense was outside of Fred Warner, who was the best inside linebacker in football. The defense was like very subpar just because so many injuries to the team, hence why their mediocre record. But I think once they're healthy and back, they'll get back to maybe not necessarily win that division, but I think they'll definitely make the playoffs again. And then the Rams are a very good team. The Rams are going to go as far as Matthew Stafford's health in his old age. So,
how old is he?
He's, 36, 37?
30-something.
Yeah, he's, back end of the career. So, but like when he's on the field, they are a good football team, but he's one of those situations where can you buy on him to stay healthy? With the aging quarterback. Some get lucky, some don't. So we'll see. We'll see Matthew Stafford's health. He should be fine at the start of the week or the start of the season. So I'm looking forward to see how they're going to look. Fully together. Dark horse teams, and I'll start with some dark horse teams. Teams that I think are going to be better than expected, and then some under pressure teams. So, although I don't think they're going to necessarily make the postseason this year, I think New England's going to be like a very competitive 7 to 8 win team. In the past years, like New England's been this team where, you have good defense, but you can't score the football, at all. So. And with Mike Vrabel coming in there as head coach, who took a little time off after being the Tennessee Titans coach for a good while, I think New England fans finally have something to look forward to this year, albeit not probably going to be a playoff berth. I think a good trajectory is possible for them. And I'm excited to see the second year of quarterback Drake May under Mike Vrabel. So I think Mike Vrabel's good at like installing a culture with his guys. Everybody respects him in the locker room. So I'm very excited to see like how they're going to turn out. And then some other, another dark horse team here. Team that's going to be sneakily good. And I think it's going to be, I would say there's probably two. It's going to be, ironically, the Chicago Bears and I would say Carolina Panthers. I mean, the Chicago Bears, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, all these new additions, great offseason, and a lot of people just count them out just because they're in that NFC North division that's stacked with 3 other very good teams, 3 top 10 teams in the NFL. So a lot of people, I think, are still like just counting them out. They've been bad for years. There's just throwing them at the bottom. But I think there's a chance. Like I think it's a possible world where the Bears, make some noise and could sneak in, maybe like finishing third in that division possibly, and like sneaking, taking a last playoff spot in the NFC. And then the Carolina Panthers, who I think the Carolina Panthers are going to be a lot better than people think, especially on defense with Derek Brown coming back. Hopefully, he had the ACL injury, but I'm hoping that he returns to form, and that Panthers defense can be a respectable unit with him on the field. And their quarterback Bryce Young, who has had an up and down career up until this point, but the back end of last year played like a top 6-7 quarterback in the NFL. So, I mean, we'll see if that was a fluke or if that was, the real Bryce Young. But I do think Bryce Young I think he'll have a good season this year. So I think Carolina is a team. This isn't the postseason landscape per se, but just another team that I think is going to be a lot better than people think. A sneaky one, if that. And then some teams that are under a lot of pressure. I mean, teams under pressure, there's a couple teams on here. I mean, you say the Buffalo Bills are number one, and the Baltimore Ravens. I'd say even the Bills, just because, you've played the Chiefs 4 times in the playoffs and you haven't won one. You have a top 2 quarterback in the NFL in Josh Allen, and it's going to be tough now. I still think they'll win their division very convincingly, but it's getting over that hump is going to be very difficult just because the Bills don't really have the defense like some of these other AFC teams, i.e. the Chiefs/Ravens. So it's going to have to be and I really don't trust McDermott, the coach, with some of these decisions in the postseason with big games on the line. So it just feels like Josh Allen has to go full Superman mode, but in times where he has gone Superman mode, he's still come up short. So I mean, they're definitely under a lot of pressure. Another team that's under a lot of pressure, although they're going to be an intriguing team, is the Cincinnati Bengals, just because Joe Burrow, quarterback, played at an MVP caliber level last year, and I think they won 8 games. They won 8 and 9. Just because their defense is a bottom 3 unit in the NFL. The defense can't stop a thing. And they're going to be bad again this year. So the Bengals are just one of those teams where they have the offense to compete with anybody. It's it's an elite offense. You got elite receivers. The O-line is not good, but it's masked a lot by the superpower that they have everywhere else on the offensive field. And then I think another team that's under some pressure is going to be the Green Bay Packers, just because you've now had 2 seasons of Jordan Love as your starting quarterback, although him battling some injuries last year. You just traded for one of the best top 2 edge in the NFL, edge rusher, defensive end, and Micah Parsons. So it's going to be a year where I think the season lies in the hands of the Green Bay Packers receiving core. They've, 2 years ago, a lot of these young receivers came onto the scene in Green Bay, and they were all very solid, and we were waiting for one of these receivers to break out and have that elite season, but it hasn't happened yet. So they drafted a first-round receiver in Matthew Golden this past draft. So we'll see how he can develop and see if Green Bay Packers, the Packers can get anything similar to a wide receiver one, an elite guy. Not saying Matthew Golden will be there right away, but I think he does have some potential to be so. I think the defense is going to be very good, but there's always a lot of pressure, I feel with the Packers, just because it's a historic franchise. You've had great quarterback play for so long with Favre and Rodgers, and you got another good quarterback in Jordan Love, and they have a good team. Matt LaFleur's been there a while, and he is a great coach. But we'll see. I think the defense will still be very good, but they were 1-6 in the division last year, and that's just not gonna convince anybody that they can really get over the hump. Now, adding Micah Parsons on that defense will make that defense, in theory, excellent. But we will see how they do in a very competitive NFC North, which honestly feels up in the air for anybody to take this upcoming season. And then in terms of, so some week 1 games that I think are going to be very, very fun. I mean, week 1's always fun. No matter, it could be the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Cleveland Browns, and everybody's going to tune in just because, football's back on, and that's what everybody just wants to watch football, no matter who it is. It's just good to get back to it.
Last Saturday in Pulaski, it was nice just to be able to kick back and relax and just watch a couple of games of football, college in this case.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, even when, preseason football comes on, preseason, it's just everybody that's trying to get a roster spot. Some guys you're fooling around with in different places, trying to figure out your depth for the team and what the depth chart's going to look like. But, everybody gets really excited for that. I mean, I think there's 2 great games. 2 great games. I'd even say 3 great games, I think, stand out to me the most. 4. I can't forget it. The Chiefs and Chargers is going to be interesting. I predict the Chargers to have a very, very potent offense, although losing your starting left tackle for the season in Rashawn Slater with I believe it was a knee injury. I forgot what the diagnosis was, but it was a season ender. It happened during camp. So, and he's one of the best tackles in football. So, losing your blindside tackle is not good. But, I still think the Chargers are going to have a very good offense. And they play the Chiefs Friday night of all things. Friday night NFL football. So,
that's weird.
That's going to be in Brazil. So, neutral site. So, I think that'll be a fun one. And we'll see. And both of those division rivals. So, we'll see how that one plays out. I'm really excited for that one. And then, as a Packers fan, I'm really excited for playing the Lions week 1. Sunday night, or it's on Sunday, 4:30ish, whatever the start time is. It could be 4:25 or 4:27. Who knows? But that's going to be a very good start to see where both of those teams lie. The Lions are more of a change team, but they still have so much offensive firepower. Packers seem to have revamped the defense. The big thing is just going to be their offense. If they're going to be able to keep up with some of these other teams in the NFC with these potent offenses that score a lot of points. So I think that's going to be a very good game, divisional matchup. Great way to kick it off. And then another one that's going to be very good is going to be Ravens-Bills, and these teams met in the postseason recently. Lamar Jackson for the Ravens versus Josh Allen. It's going to be in Buffalo, Sunday night game. Yeah, that's going to be a very good game. Two of the top 3 teams in the AFC going at it to start the year. And then I think another game, I think a Monday night game is going to be very good as well. It's Vikings-Bears. And like I said with the Bears, as a Packers fan, you don't like the Bears, but I do have a different feeling about the Bears this year. I think they really can, be sneaky in that division that's very loaded. But I think the Bears can make a lot of noise. I like what they did in the offseason. But the Vikings also, you have to respect them as well. The biggest question mark for the Vikings is going to be their starting quarterback. They had Sam Darnold come in last year as a rental, essentially. Threw 30-plus touchdowns, And like Sam Darnold, like throughout his career, like didn't really have any success at all, albeit he was in some bad situations in Carolina and with the Jets. But it's still probably in the NFC North per se, it's the best coach team. Kevin O'Connell, they call him the quarterback whisperer because he can just take some of these quarterbacks that haven't really done much in their careers and just turn them into, solid high-end starters. So I think he's an excellent play caller. I think the Vikings are still going to be a very good team. I don't think they're going to win 14 games again like they did last year. And I don't think the Lions are going to win 15 games like they did last year. But I think Vikings, Bears, Monday Night Football, that's going to be a good one in Chicago.
Okay, well, give us a quick touch on the college for the last minute or so.
Yeah.
Since that's an important topic.
Yeah, of course. So by the time this airs, so week one's already happened. So we saw some pretty big upsets in week one. We're seeing with a lot of these like teams that have ruled college football over the years, i.e. Alabama. I feel like a lot of these teams that were so dominant throughout the years are really feeling the presence of NIL and can't keep their players. You can't keep your players really like you could back then because a lot of people are just going to go where the money is, whatever school it is.
With that new system?
Huh?
With the new financial incentive system?
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, it's whatever you want to make of it. Some people don't like it because it's kind of like lost the like student athlete concept, and then some people like it because it's like even the playing field more across the country. But yeah, Alabama losing to Florida State was just, I don't know. Like I don't think Florida State is. I think they're much better than they were. They are much better than they were last year.
I'm not sensing that Alabama is consistent. They're always good, but they're only occasionally really good.
They're not the same Alabama of old, constantly staying in the top 5, never moving from the top 5, just dominating everybody. But yeah, it's just like a new era in college football. And then
that Tigers game was awesome.
Yeah,
LSU and Clemson.
Yeah, the Tiger Bowl, if you will. That was a good one. Speaking of. Yeah, that was a great game. And honestly, like I picked Clemson in that game, but LSU came in there, did what they had to do. I think I will say LSU is a team that with some pressure this year just because, Brian Kelly, longtime coach at Notre Dame, had great teams, never won it all. Decides to come to the SEC. I believe this is I think this is year 3 of him now at LSU. And he's had some, it was like similar to a Notre Dame situation where he couldn't win the big game, but he started off the season winning a very big one. So we'll see where the LSU Tigers go.
Well, thank you for this roundup, Dylan. Hopefully this will be a beginning of a nice, long, relaxing, not playing football for you. Find time to finally be able to enjoy it. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a great time.
Thanks for listening to the Transmitter 42 podcast. If you would like to send us feedback or suggestions, please email us at radioshow@t42.am or send a note via U.S. mail to Transmitter 42 LLC, P.O. Box 100, Remington, Virginia 22734. All our podcasts are available for your favorite player. Visit t42.am for our catalog. Transmitter 42.